Whoa, everybody. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. It's real vile time, baby. And of course, it's the G to the E to the R to the M, and the T stands for the. And we're about to rip it up in a modern way. So you know it's got to be Mr. Germ T. Ripper. I've got Miss Killer Kelly Miller, the Tower of the Hour, the Princess of Power. Baby, what's up, baby?
What's up, babies?
That's what I'm talking about. And of course, the leader of the pack, the snack attack, Mr. Ruthless Chris. Ruthless Chris, tell us what's going on, baby.
What's going on is I'm on edge from Fox News Dad is what I'm on edge. Or what's going on?
Fox News Dad. I think that that should be a theme of a movie sometime, right? Let's make it happen.
No,
we can make him a heel in a wrestling match. Then maybe Fox News Dad getting suplexed off the top ropes.
There he goes, Fox News Dad.
FND. Well, anyways, enough of Fox News Dad. What have you guys been up to since last time we spoke?
Oh, since we last spoke with you, we've been doing quite a bit. Chris and I tried to go camping, but we did not look at the forecast.
Kind of camped a little.
Kind of camped. We didn't look at the forecast before we got our camp spot, but we're like, you know what? Let's just go hang out there anyway. It was supposed to storm all night, but it didn't start till like 11, so we had some good time there. What else have I done? Didn't we go to a show? Yeah, my dad won tickets to that Sonic Temple Fest down in Columbus, and
so it's like a nothing but butt rock fest. He won tickets to this thing. It's like
the wrong day, dude,
and all this shit. If we would have been one day later, we could have saw Mr. Bungle and the Misfits and like a bunch of good bands. So we went down there and just scalped the tickets, and then we went to a hardcore punk rock show that was in a laundromat. So we saw Torture, Volcano. Fuck, who else?
What's the other band?
But it was literally like tucked away in the corner of a laundromat called Dapper. What was it? Dapper Dungarees?
Dirty Dungarees.
Dirty Dungarees in on High Street in Columbus. So that was.
I mean, Judas Priest was playing on the night that we were going. It was like Judas Priest and Cypress Hill, but they put those two on the same stage at the same time, and we're like, dude, those are the only two bands I would really care about seeing on this day, you know? Because the rest was like Evanescence and fucking Disturbed, and like, I'm sure 16-year-old me would have been disappointed if I didn't go watch Mudvayne, though. I probably would have went and watched Mudvayne if we would have already been in there. But our seats were also in the stadium, and they wanted $40 to park. So we just like made money off those tickets in the parking lot, got money for a meal and fucking tickets to the hardcore show, and it worked out great.
Yeah, I had a great time. We met some friends down there.
Yeah,
it was great.
Very cool. Well, sounds like you guys had a great time doing like dirty hood rat things with dirty hood rat people, and that's what it's all about, especially with that sense of the DIY sense of just get that money and do the things you want to do. And speaking of which, that DIY spirit of taking what money you have and doing what you do and making the art that you want to make. Tonight is going to be Roger Corman Rama. It is Corman. It is a celebration of everything Roger Corman. Now, this late great filmmaker passed away a little more than a month ago, and we want to honor him with a whole episode dedicated to the king of the bees, Mr. Roger Corman himself. Ruthless Chris, I know that Roger Corman has made a huge influence on you. Could you tell us a little bit about how much Roger Corman meant to you?
Yeah, Corman, he's a guy that I was loving his output without even realizing he was a man behind it. Like aside from being a director who's directed, some very decent movies, he didn't direct a lot, but he produced so many movies and so many movies that kind of shaped my sensibilities and like kind of what I enjoy now. When you look at his IMDb, he's got something like 480 film credits. Like the guy, and he launched some of our most prolific directors' careers. We wouldn't have a Martin Scorsese if it wasn't for him. We wouldn't have a James Cameron if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
What's that?
Jack Nicholson?
Yeah, some of Jack Nicholson's earliest works was for him. He launched so many careers, and his ethos was always, I'll give you the money to make a movie. If you do this right, you'll never have to work for me again. And he meant that as like, he wanted to be like a jumping off point for a lot of these young filmmakers and really give them an opportunity to shine and show what they're fully capable of. And it wasn't just one style of film. He had sexploitation, he had action films, he had comedies, a lot of horror, sci-fi, but it was all like kind of this low budget thing, and he always found a way to make money off of almost every single movie he's ever produced. I think I saw in an interview that he only lost money on one movie out of like the hundreds he produced, because he was so smart at how he would do things, and like giving people the right amount of money, but not, letting them have a lot of leeway, but still keeping an eye on shit. Roger Corman, there was a point in my life where we had this new and used record store, and they had a dollar bin for movies. And anytime I saw Death Race 2000, I would buy it and just give it to another random person I knew. So, I was kind of like spreading the gospel of Corman without even knowing it, and I find it really sad that when he passed, no one really talked about it, and that there wasn't this like ripple through underground cinema that we just lost like one of the most prolific guys. Like, who else do we have that's like him? I mean, we got like Charles Band, but Full Moon is real hit or miss. Like Corman,
not like Corman.
Yeah,
with the longevity that he had in his career, like we're talking like 50, 60 years, if longer.
70
years of filmmaking, and like you said, it's a lot of movies that you didn't even realize that he was behind at the same time,
Yeah, there's movies that are still coming out that he produced. There's still ones that haven't even dropped yet that he was financing behind the scenes. So, and whenever you saw an interview with him, he kind of reminded me of Adam West. Like he was just kind of like this sweet, dorky, gray-haired guy that just loved movies. So I wanted to take the time to shine some light on what he's doing and give the man some love, because I don't really see a lot of other people talking about him.
Well, I think it's a wonderful night of everything Roger Corman, and we're going to make the best of it, especially with our feature presentation for the night will be Roger Corman directed 1959 spectacular comedy crime horror film, A Bucket of Blood. So stay tuned and wait till we discuss all the ins and outs of this fabulous film, A Bucket of Blood. In the meantime, we're going to talk about some other Corman films, some other films we've been watching, and just, life in general. Let's kick off this terror train, baby. Killer Kelly Miller, paging Killer Kelly Miller. Could you come in, please, with the first film that you want to talk about?
Hey. Yes, the first film I'm going to talk about is also from the same year as our feature film, 1959. This one was directed by Roger Corman, and you can feel some like influence from the original Fly on this one. I am talking Wasp Woman. I really liked this. I gave this a 3.5. I'm just going to say right away. It's basically, it starts out, a man in a bee suit. He's tending to his bees. There's a scientist working there. I don't remember exactly why, and I don't think it's that important. But the scientist is on the bee farm. He's extracting royal jelly, except he's doing it from wasps instead of bees. And when the farmers that he's working for are seeing that he's doing this shit, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing? We're not hiring you to do this. We want, bee royal jelly." So they fire this guy, even after he shows them that he discovered a way to reverse the aging process. Because like he tested it on it was a baby animal of some sort, not the kitten yet. I think it was a mouse or something. But it like went back to being a baby, after injecting him with this shit. Anyway, at the same time, there's this lady named Janice Starlin. She is a beauty products entrepreneur. She's got this giant company, and it's been doing really bad lately. Like she's getting older. She's in her 40s. She's looking a little older, and I don't think people really trust her opinion as much. sales are declining, and she meets with this Dr. Zinthrop, and they talk about what he's discovered. They talk about what he's what he's discovered through his science with the aging process, and she's like, fuck, dude, I can make millions. And he's like, it is so not ready for human consumption. And he shows her this kitten that it worked on. That's kind of sad. There's some mean kitten scenes, but it comes out later. But he shows her this cat, like it's got specific markings. And he's like, remember that cat I injected? She comes back in, it's this cute little cuddly kitten, and she's like, holy shit, I want to be your guinea pig. He's like, yeah, but it's not fit for humans. She's like, I don't care. Test it on me. So he starts injecting her. And sure shit, after about a month or so, she's looking like she's in her 20s and shit. And, products are selling. She's doing good. But at one point, the dude notices that the kitten is starting to turn into a fucking wasp. So that's basically what happens from here. It's a great fucking movie. I really enjoyed it. The effects are great. The direction, the acting, 3.5, dude. Even if you don't like old movies, you at least should see, where things like I think this might have been influenced by The Fly, which came out first, but it's still, this is a fantastic movie. It holds up today. I'd highly recommend it. A little bit of sci-fi,
Yeah, absolutely. Ruthless Chris, have you seen Wasp Woman?
I have. It's been a number of years, but I really enjoyed it. From what I remember, I remember it being a lot of fun. I'd probably, from what I remember it of, it's been a number of years. I'd probably give it a 3.5 as well.
Roger Corman is also in this movie. He has a small part as a doctor in another scene.
Oh wow, I love that. Yeah, I've never seen Wasp Woman. What's it streaming on?
This was on, I believe I watched it real quick. I thought I wrote that down.
I guarantee you it's on Tubi.
One of them.
Everything's on Tubi.
It was like
I showed my dad
Pluto, Plex. It's on Plex.
I showed my dad Tubi tonight, and it blew his fucking mind. I was like, "Give me any movie you remember from your childhood," and he gave me one, and I just put it, and he was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, my mom's
a plus.
But yeah, it does look like it's on everything. Tubi, Plex, Prime. It's on basically everything. It's definitely worth a watch, though. I had a lot of fun with this one for sure.
Wasp Woman. It's streaming everywhere. 3.5 from Killer Kelly and Ruthless Chris. I haven't seen it yet, but I do enjoy that the premise seems a lot more elevated than I thought it would be, and I'll have to check it out myself. Wasp Woman. Check it out. Roger Corman directed, and he has a cameo in it. I'm sure he probably wrote and produced it as well, because that seems like a big part of his early work, at least. But
I don't know if he wrote. No, he's not a writer, but he is a director for sure.
Very, very cool. Let's keep the train chugging, a choo-choo. And Ruthless Chris, what have you got for us for the first film you want to talk about, baby?
So I went more the direction of produced by Roger Corman. And I watched a series of movies. Actually, Kelly and I watched 2 of these that I'm going to talk about on her back porch with the projector. We very much enjoyed the first 2 Watchers movies, and I didn't realize that there are 2 more in the franchise, so I went ahead and watched them both. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Watchers 3, directed by Jeremy Stanford, 1994. I always remembered this from when I was a little kid because they had a very dog shit cover. It had like this weird reptile blue thing on the front when the first 2 Watchers were well, the first one was a Sasquatch. The second one was like a Sasquatch with this mega huge mouth and weird nose. This one, they kind of just were like, fuck it, we're doing Predator. And that's what they did. So you have them sending, the premise of these Watchers movies is they have a dog linked to a monster. The dog goes and scouts, and then the monster comes in and murders everything that the dog scouts. And the problem is that the Sasquatch, or whatever the fuck you'd even consider it in this one, keeps murdering the dogs. So in this one, they drop it in a jungle somewhere. I'm not even sure they even say where. I think it might be in South America somewhere. And it's killing the shit out of people. So they decide to put together this tactical team of mercenaries that they feel are expendable to go down there and test this thing's metal. And they're all watching it on satellites, and it's being streamed to this control room. Once they get down there, it's pretty much Predator. It can go invisible at times. I mean, it hunts them one at they are just like, we're doing Predator. But with that being said,
yeah,
it was pretty fucking funny.
Well, yeah.
It was no budget of shit. It starred Wings Hauser, which I thought was hilarious. There was a lot of good gore. The creature itself looked dumb as shit, and they did not deter from showing it a lot. Like in the first watchers, they knew that their costume maybe wasn't up to stuff, so you would see like an arm swiping or like the shadow of it or the silhouette, and it didn't really actually show the full monster till the end. This one, it's just like, here it is. So what we can afford, guys. Here's Wing Hauser. Let's do it. Super cheesy, super bloody. The end where they kill the fucking thing is the most hilarious shit I've ever seen. It's just like they did not put any effort into it. Like you know, at the end of Predator, they're all setting the traps, and you know, like all his guns are gone, so he's got to like rely on his mind, and he's swinging logs from trees on vines and shit to kill this thing. They tried to build something like that in this, and it's real dumb. With that being said, I had a lot of fun. We watched it on YouTube. It's free to watch on YouTube. I don't think it's streaming anywhere else. Quality's not so great. But with that being said, I still loved every goddamn minute of this fucking thing, and I gave it a 3.
Yeah, man. This one was really fun. I really enjoyed this one too. You know what I really like about this franchise is the hero is a dog. It's Einstein, Furface, you know.
It starts out as Furface, and then they go to Einstein.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's the same dog in the first 2, and then it's a different dog in 3 and 4. And boy, wait till I get to part 4, starring Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
yeah, that was a good one too.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it because I remember seeing that cover in the video store when I was a lot younger, and I remember not having any inclination to rent it at the time. But if it's a Predator ripoff with Wings Hauser, then you guys had fun with it, and it's streaming for free on YouTube. You said 3 stars.
Hero.
I give it 3. I don't know what Kelly gave it, but I gave it 3.
Three's fair. That
was a high 3. I can't, in good conscience, give it more than 3 because it is a bad movie. It gets 3 because it was fun. Like the entire time, I was smiling and laughing and having a good time.
Well, all right, 3 for fun. I gotta consider watching it myself then. 2 for 2 that I haven't seen, so that's pretty cool. And before we get to Roger Corman's probably his best well-known film that he directed, A Bucket of Blood, 1959's Bucket of Blood. I'm going to talk about a movie that I watched recently that is directed by Roger Corman. It is 1957's Attack of the Crab Monsters. This is a horror sci-fi movie, and it's kind of bonkers because I expected just a sort of giant monster movie that was kind of brainless, and it actually became pretty cerebral while watching it because the scientists were trying to go to this island where things were starting to change, things were evolving around them or disappearing, but land was disappearing, like mountains and different parts of the island. And it turns out that the giant crab monsters are intelligent, and they were brought to life by radiation, like a lot of giant monster movies, but they also consumed the consciousness of the people that they ate, and they could imitate or facilitate the essence of those people when trying to lure others to be their meals, their food. And it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I really enjoyed 1957's Attack of the Crab Monsters a lot more than I thought I would. And if you like sci-fi, if you like horror from 1957, you like that sort of old school giant monster feel, I would suggest it. Definitely. I gave it 3 stars. And it's got a cool cast of people that you'll probably look at and you'll be like, oh, I know them from somewhere. You might have to Google search, but it's definitely worth the watch. Acting's good, directing's good, of course, because it's by Roger Corman, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's really short. I think it's like a little over an hour, so it's not even like you're going to burn a lot of time watching it. It's pretty much streaming.
All those early Corman movies are like just an hour.
Yeah.
Which is ideal.
Yeah, I love
Wasp one was, I think, fucking 61 minutes or something.
Bucket of Blood was an hour and 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not going to spend your day getting wrapped up in too much plot or dialogue or anything. It's like, cut to the chase. This is the movie. Mm-hmm. You're going to like it. Boom. Because, people, even back then, probably had shorter attention spans, and he understood that.
Yeah, there's no fat.
Why mess around? Yeah, cut off the fat, give you some good entertainment. But Attack of the Crab People is streaming everywhere. Crackle, Findor, Freevee, Plex, Tubi, blah, 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 blah. Watch it if you haven't already. Have you guys seen Attack of the Crab Monsters?
I don't believe I have seen this one, actually.
I sure have. I'm a big fan of aquatic horror.
What do you think about Attack of the Crab Monsters from 1957?
I love it. I love it so much. I love the way the monsters look. Like, and I do like we were talking a minute ago that Corman doesn't leave any fat in his movies. Like he just like even when we get to discussing Bucket of Blood, like, he just gets right to it. Like, he doesn't keep you waiting for what you came for. Like whatever's in the titles, you're going to start seeing it real fast. And this is another one of those movies. I love it. I love aquatic horror, so I watch anything that's kind of like this. It's got fish people, or crabs, or squids, or leviathans, or whatever. I am on it. So I would probably give this one 3.5. Not probably give it 4, honestly. I think it's a classic.
I'll check this one out.
Yes, absolutely.
What is this streaming on again?
Everywhere.
Okay.
All the free streamers and Amazon Prime.
What I'm noticing is that if Roger Corman was behind it, it's on like any free streaming service.
Well, the funny thing was, I think the last movie he directed was Frankenstein Unbound, and I couldn't find it streaming anywhere. It's not listed on IMDb as streaming anywhere.
So I actually looked into that because I remember that being this really weird movie that had these like really strange like memories of, and it was one I was going to watch, and I looked into it, and there's just like a strange thing where the rights are being held up by the director's family. Like, the director passed away, and the
director's Roger Corman.
Oh, what am I thinking of then?
It's the last film he directed.
I'm thinking of something else then. But yeah, there's something about the rights that are being held up somewhere. But that was like this really weird movie because there's time travel in it, and they go to the future and shit. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a weird one. It had a great cover. It had like a eyeball that was like sewn together with 3 different colored pupils.
Yes. Well, in the meantime, let's keep this train a chugging along so we can get to 1959's A Bucket of Blood. Killer Kelly Miller, what you been watching, baby?
This one, my next one, it was actually quite similar to my first one, even in the sense that they were both kind of sci-fi based, both human using themselves as the test subject. I am talking about 1963's Man with the X-Ray Eyes, X. You can watch this on Pluto. This one is also directed by Roger Corman. But yeah, in the same sense, you've got a doctor, Dr. Xavier. He's a, what are they called? Ophthalmologist? Eye doctors.
Optometrist.
He's an eye doctor. Optometrist. But yes, he's something like that.
Wait. What did you call it?
Ophthalmologist. I don't wear glasses.
All right, continue. Sorry.
Sorry,
it's ridiculous when Peapod chimes in.
Sorry, but anyway, yes, Dr. Xavier. He's trying to enhance eyesight for people. He's got a formula that he's been working on, and he notices the monkey that he's been testing on, like, it's starting to develop like a different wavelength where it can actually like see things like a fucking X-ray, you know? So after testing with the monkey a little bit more and shit, he decides to try it on himself. And at first it goes well. Like he does, everything that you would basically do if you had X-ray eyes. He looks through clothes at first, but he does that. Winning card games. He's doing that shit. He even like works as a magician for a little while when shit starts getting a little weird, you know. And people's like, "Oh, he's not psychic," and because he can see what's in people's pockets. And then, ultimately ends up going fucking insane because the shit gets too powerful. Like it's almost like the strength of this shit just like grows and grows. And now like he's got to wear these special glasses that are all black and weird and crazy. I really enjoyed this movie, man. I also gave this I want to give it a 3.5, but I think I liked Wasp Woman slightly more. So if I had to put one above the other, they're both 3.5s, but I like Wasp Woman slightly more. I don't know, both great though. I did enjoy this. Highly recommend.
And Ruthless Chris, have you seen X, the man with the X-ray eyes?
I have, and not only do I enjoy it as a movie, but I also think this is like one of my all-time favorite movie covers. Like the poster for this thing is awesome. It's one of those ones that just like makes you want like I gotta watch this fucking thing. It's definitely a product of its time, and it looks really cool. I've always wanted to get like a full-size poster of it to hang up, but I've never been able to track one down. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I probably actually like this one a little better than Wasp Woman, so I'm the opposite of her, but it's also a 3.5 for me. This is a quality flick. I really enjoy it.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I haven't seen this one in years. It's one of the ones that was in a Roger Corman box set that Ken got me for Christmas one of our first years together. And it was a 6-pack of early Roger Corman films. And I remember that I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a fun movie, definitely a fun watch. And you didn't really see how it was going to progress as it went along and how it just drove him in the powers drove him insane. And yeah, I really enjoyed it too. Without remembering too much about it, I'm going to go ahead and say 3 stars, but definitely worth a watch. And it looks like it's streaming on Pluto. Is that where you watched it, or?
That's where I watched it. Yes.
Very cool. Yeah, Man with the X-ray eyes, X, the Man with the X-ray eyes, streaming on Pluto. 3.5 stars. Check it out. Definitely a fun one. Horror, sci-fi, thriller. And we're going to keep this train chugging along, chugging on this Corman train. Oh, 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 chugging on this Corman train. We're pulling into Ruthless Chris Town. Ruthless Chris, tell us about another Roger Corman produced film, would you please?
Yeah. Before I launch into my next one, I just want to throw this out there, just because it's been underperforming at the theaters. But I went and saw the new Mad Max. Go fucking see it. It is phenomenal. If you liked Fury Road, go see this fucking movie because I want Mad Max 5, and apparently it's getting pulled from the table because this thing's underperforming. So go see that goddamn movie. But anyway, my next one is Island of the Fishmen, aka Screamers. This is from 1979, directed by Sergio Martino. This was a fun one. It kind of reminded me a lot of Lucio Fulci's Zombie, but if you replace the zombies with fishmen that look like Creature from the Black Lagoon, it's a giallo film. Like it's an Italian film, so it's filmed kind of like a giallo. It's kind of rich looking, a lot of fog, stuff like that. But what you have is a remote island, and there's this rumor that there's treasure there from back in the day, and a lot of times people will charter boats to take them there so that they can go try to track this treasure down. That's supposed to be worth a fortune. You could live on your high horse the rest of your days because of it. What's up, Buff Stuff? And so you got it opens with a group of treasure seekers that hire a sea captain, played by an all-time favorite of mine, Cameron Mitchell, who is a dog shit B-movie actor I just love seeing in anything, because he's usually very drunk and really not happy to be there. so it kind of makes for fun scenes. But they go to look for this treasure. They get murdered by giant fishmen that look a lot like the creature from the Black Lagoon, but there's a bunch of them. Cut to, there is a group of sailors. Their boat gets a hole in it. They get marooned on this island, and they're trying to survive. They end up finding this one rich guy that lives there, and he's got a bunch of workers that work for him, and they're like, "All right, we'll take you in because there's nowhere else you can go, and we'll get you out of here." We'll come to find out they're like enslaving these fish people through this goo to help them find this treasure. It's a really strange movie. It's extremely gory. A lot of heads getting ripped off. A lot of good, cool underwater sequences, which must have been really hard to do back then. A lot of good fish mayhem. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. I watched it on Tubi. I'd probably give this one 3.5. No, I'd give it 4. I really enjoy aquatic horror. It also goes by the name Screamers. So it's either Island of the Fishmen or Screamers. And yeah, I watched it on Tubi.
I see that this is a Sergio Martino film.
Yes.
Oh, well, that makes that brings a whole new level of excitement to the Island of Fishmen, aka the Screamers. And you said where was this streaming that you saw it on?
I watched it on Tubi, and it was under the name Screamers on Tubi.
On Screamers on Tubi, and
yes.
You said what, 3.5 stars?
I'll give it 4, honestly, because it's kind of really up my alley. Like I said, I really enjoy aquatic horror, and especially like that creature from the Black Lagoon style design, where you got like just a fish man running around.
But being a giallo, that does sound really.
Yeah. Well, so I'm guessing Killer Kelly. By the way, you're sounding like you're interested in this. You haven't seen it either.
I am. I have not. No, I have not. What year did you say this was?
1979.
Okay. Yeah, I am interested.
Very, very cool. So, The Island of the Fishmen, aka the Screamers, streaming on Tubi, 4 stars from Ruthless Chris, and we've got to check that baby out because it looks like a wild, wacky, whimsical ride filled with gore and aquatic horrors, and I kind of dig all those things. But we're going to keep this train a-chugging down the Corman tracks. Do. Corman tracks. Do. Because it's Corman Rama. Corman Rama. Corman Rama tonight. Do. And I'm going to talk about the next movie that I watched. It is 1972's, directed by Roger Corman, and not a horror movie, not a sci-fi movie, but it said Unholly in the title, so I figured I'd watch it, and we're going to talk about it regardless, because it is Roger Corman, but this is the roller derby movie, The Unholy Rollers. Ooh la la, c'est la vie. It was a good time for you, and it's a good time for me. Man, oh man, it's a behind-the-scenes of the roller derby circuit. Beautiful young woman joins a roller derby team, but her fierce independence and competitive spirit gets her into trouble. Yeah, this is I didn't realize, and I should. I am an old man, and I should know these things, but I didn't realize that roller derby is it's kind of a work, it's kind of a work. It's not a shoot.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. And
I didn't know that.
That's kind of what they say in this movie. This isn't a documentary or anything, but I feel like this was probably, roller derby was probably a popular thing in 1972. And Roger Corman loves exploiting whatever's popular. He was like the king of exploitation films. So making a roller derby exploitation film would be right up his alley. And right now, while I'm looking at this, it says it's directed by Vernon Zimmerman, which I swear I Googled Roger Corman films, and this one popped up. That's why I watched it. But anyways, Unholy Rollers from 1972 about wacky hijinks of a roller derby girl and her team, and it is definitely an interesting watch and definitely a fun watch. I'm gonna see if he at least produced it. Yes, he is Roger Corman is an executive producer on this. So okay, good. We're still on the Corman Rama, Corman Rama with the Unholy Rollers. If the idea of a roller derby exploitation movies from the early 70s appeals to you, then I would highly recommend Unholy Rollers. I gave it 3 stars, and yeah, a lot of it seemed very much like a Roger Corman film. There is a rock and roll band that looks like it would be like a proto sort of punk rock band wearing leather jackets and bebopping around. There's tattoos and fights and, a lot of boobies. If you're into boobies, 70s boobies. And yeah, it's just a great exploitation film. Have either of you heard of Unholy Rollers?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it. It does look completely up my alley. If I seen that you had already watched it, but if you wouldn't have, I would have.
I have not. I did not know that roller derby was a work. We used to have a roller derby team here in Toledo that was kind of a big thing for a few years, called the Glass City Rollers.
We
was
do
really
again.
trying to get off. They were really trying to get off the ground for a few years, and they were kind of doing it for a little bit, then stopped. But yeah, I haven't seen this. I definitely would like to check it out. It's interesting to me that it's a work like wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I really had no idea. And, I definitely wanted to get into that roller derby scene as a fan, just to watch when it was like the mid 2000s or 2010s when roller derby had a resurgence.
Yeah. Yeah, it was around then. Probably earlier.
I think it was about. I think it was about like 2010 here when it was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that sounds about right. Yeah, so if you guys have any interest in a roller derby exploitation film, I give it 3 stars, and it's produced by Roger Corman, so check it out. It's it's streaming most places. It's on here, MGM Plus, but I think I watched it on Amazon Prime Video, so if you have Prime, you can watch it there as well. But we got to keep this train chugging along for one more round of this round table, this Roger Corman round table, before we get to 1959's A Bucket of Blood. Killer Kelly Miller, one more movie, please.
This is the only one that I watched of the Roger Corman ones that I probably liked the least, which is odd because I usually love witch things. Although I still give it a 3. This one was produced by Roger Corman. He was not a director. The director was Daniel Haller, and this is the Dunwich Horror 1970, which is a yeah. You've probably read the book, Chris, because you're a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan. I have not.
I have.
I think I may have liked it more if I would have read the book first, especially after reading stuff afterwards. Like, oh shit, I kind of feel like I should have read the book to enjoy this one more. I still give this one a 3. I think I like my other 2 this week slightly more, but this was good. It's a decent slow burn. It's basically girls working in a library where the Necronomicon comes in, and a man wants to rent the Necronomicon. His car breaks down, and she gives him a ride back to his house in Dunwich, Massachusetts. Well, his house happens to be like, in some area where there was some shit going on, like it's known for its history there. It's known for like the witchcraft and like, all the shit in the history there. But she gets to the house and basically she gets drugged, and there's a lot of okay. This is a little harder to get into. What, Chris? Yeah, he's got different plans for bringing her there. He's part of some sort of like, back in his family history, there's a lot of shit going. The looks you're giving me are fucking me up.
We're not doing nothing.
Well, there's some like cult family.
Talk about the Dunwich Horror.
There are some horrors. There's some orgies in this movie, like some orgy scenes. There's a lot. This one's very heavily sexual. There's some rape scenes, which you'll probably have to block that word out later for YouTube. Sorry. There is. But yeah, it's kind of a slow burn. He's got ideas for Oddly, this is like the third movie I've watched this week that has to do with like some sort of demon impregnating a girl. Weird. But yeah. Yeah. I give it a 3. A slow burn. If you're into like witchy sort of movies, although it's involving more of a warlock. The girl's friend comes back to the house to try to find her and shit, and she's like, it's almost like a Stockholm syndrome sort of feel that she has. Have you guys seen this movie? I feel like I'm butchering this fucking review.
That's fine. That's fine. Place. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, and we appreciate everything you do, Kelly. I have not seen the Dunwich Horror. Mr. Ruthless Chris, have you seen Dunwich Horror?
I sure have. Like she had mentioned, I'm a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft. I watched most things based on his works, and this one's considered to be kind of a classic.
It is.
It's very liberal with the source material, but then again, the source material was very slim for making a movie out of. You know, a lot of his short stories are, a couple pages. But with that being said, I think this is a classic. I think it's a very good film. But Definitely. I'm also saying that as somebody that read the story beforehand, so maybe I have bias or something. And I love H.P. Lovecraft, so maybe I got some bias coming in. But I think it's a classic.
I didn't say it wasn't a classic. I just didn't like it as much as the other two. Especially for me as somebody who loves witch movies. This one didn't hit like it usually does for me,
Ain't be hitting.
Maybe Fair it's enough. Because I didn't read it, but I'll read it and try again. Yeah.
Yes. Killer Kelly, you said you give it 3 stars. Ruthless Chris, yes. How many stars would you give the Dunwich Horror?
4.
4. All right. And I don't believe I've seen it. I may have. I don't know, though. I'm pretty sure I haven't. So I won't give it any stars for now. Where did you say it's streaming, Kelly?
I believe this one was everywhere. Plex, Pluto, Tubi.
Everywhere. You can see it anywhere. You could see it everywhere. It's streaming everywhere. Ruthless Chris, what you got for us next, baby?
So we're gonna round robin back to the Watchers franchise. I watched Watchers 4, Watchers Reborn. 1998, directed by John Carl Buechler, who you may know from Cellar Dweller. And he also did Dungeon Master, that really weird 80s movie that was a lot more techno horror mixed with dungeon crawling. This one was a weird ride. They're back to having it as a Sasquatch. Stars Mark Hamill. The strange thing is the entire soundtrack is sultry, sexy saxophone music, like you would get in a softcore like Showtime, like 2000 Showtime, like Taxi Cab Confessions or some shit. Like just a sex fucking show. This time around, it gets loose in the city, and there's a government entity, kind of like the FBI, that's trying to track him down. And Mark Hamill is a police officer whose partner gets killed by this thing. So he is very invested in figuring out what the fuck's going on. The fun thing about this is like every 5 seconds, there's just scenes of guys in suits and sunglasses cocking shotguns and getting ripped apart. Like they're just sending them in just in droves. Just get like, they're not even trying with this thing. They're just getting ripped to shreds. This one was a lot of fun. I think the whole series is fun, honestly. It was really funny to see Mark Hamill in it because he really hammed it up in this one. Like really hammed it up. Yeah. I enjoyed this one. I really don't know what else to say about it because it's just so much like the other ones. But yeah, Sasquatch loose in the city, ripping people apart. There's some good gore. It's really funny. It's very heavy exploitation. I watched this also on YouTube. So yeah, I give this one 3. They're all 3s.
Except for the first one. Yeah.
First one I give a 4.
Yeah.
I just tried finding Watchers 4 on IMDb. I can't find it on there.
You have to
It
put in
doesn't go.
Watchers Reborn.
The Watchers Reborn is the
But
title
I think
of it.
it's on. Didn't we watch it on YouTube too?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
And it's streaming on YouTube. So, yeah, 3 stars. Watchers 4 YouTube. Sasquatch Loose in the City, and it's a remake of Pretty Woman. Anyway, I got one last movie to talk about before we get to the bucket of blood. And it is 1981's sci-fi action adventure horror film, Galaxy of Terror. And this movie is a ragtag spaceship crew is sent on a rescue mission and encounter a formidable enemy, their worst fears projected by their own imaginations. It's the power of imagination. This was a wild and wacky, whimsical film produced by Roger Corman, directed by Bruce D. Clark. Yeah, so I popped big time for Robert Englund being in this cast. I'm guessing this has got to be one of his first films. And who else is in this? Oh, Sid motherfucking Haig is in this. Yes, Robert Englund and Sid Haig in a 1981 sci-fi horror film executive or produced by Roger Corman. Galaxy of Terror has a lot of crazy monsters and a lot of crazy gore, and it sort of like holds on to this 70s, early 80s adventure actions sort of scenario, like they're on a quest. It's not really sure what the quest is at times, or at least maybe I lost track of it. But it still holds my attention because of the monsters and the gore and all the fun special effects. And if I remember correctly, one of the scenes in this part of the set, it's supposed to look like it's inside like a spaceship, but the walls were made out of like lunch containers from McDonald's or something, if I remember correctly. And
yeah,
I just think that's
they're
really,
to-go containers they spray painted.
Yeah, that's like so Roger Corman. You do whatever you got to do to accomplish this film and do it on the smallest budget possible. And I think that's genius. But the whole dream thing, I know that Nightmare on Elm Street probably came out around the same time, but maybe after. I'd have to Google to make sure. But the whole dream thing I thought was so smart, because I expected just some similar to Attack of the Crab Monsters. I expected something just sort of flimsy, something just thrown out there. And this was more cerebral than I expected. This was a lot more thought-provoking than I expected. And I actually really enjoyed Galaxy of Terror. Kind of surprised I hadn't seen it before, except for the fact I'm not a big sci-fi guy. And definitely I enjoyed it. And I suggest it to anybody who has not seen it yet. I give Galaxy of Terror, guess what? 3 stars. It's a fun one. And especially if you like that sort of early 80s sci-fi action adventure type film. And it's streaming on AMC Plus, so I would guess that it's probably on Shudder too, but I'm not completely sure. But you can also check out Galaxy of Terror on Freevee, Crackle, Peacock, Plex, Pluto TV, Prime Video. Yeah, it's basically everywhere. And a Ruthless Curse, I'm guessing you've probably seen Galaxy of Terror.
Oh, I sure have. I own me a copy. Yeah, I love that movie. There's like a good section of like these sci-fi alien ripoffs he did like in the early 80s that all of them just hit with me. They're either alien ripoffs or Star Wars ripoffs, like Star Crash. I enjoy them all. This one's no exception. I think this is one of the better that he's done. Yeah, I'd give it 3.5.
Very, very cool. So if you haven't seen Galaxy of Terror, or if you just want to watch it again, know that it is streaming everywhere and you should check it out. So check it out, y'all. 3 stars for me. And Chris, what did you say? 4 stars?
I gave it 3.5.
3.5. So 3 from me, 3.5 from Ruthless Chris. Hey Kelly, have you ever seen Galaxy of Terror?
I don't believe I have. I seen this as I was looking for more Corman movies, so no, I don't think I did see this one.
Alrighty, righty then. If you get a chance, you should. It is streaming everywhere. But in the meantime, I think we've pulled this terror train into Spoiler Town right on this Roger Corman Rama. Roger Corman Rama. Can we do that echo? Roger Corman echo. Yeah, there we go.
Rama.
And now for our feature presentation.
Anywho, we're talking about 1959's A Bucket of Blood. In my opinion, this is probably Roger Corman's most well-known film that he directed. And I highly recommend A Bucket of Blood because besides just it being directed by Roger Corman, he also produced this film, and it's a horror film, and it's a comedy, and a great satire of the times that it was made in. The beatnik scene, the artist scene, the bohemian scene, and if you know what those things are, you will laugh at this movie. If you're not familiar with A Bucket of Blood, it's about a dim-witted busboy at a beatnik cafe passes off a cat he accidentally killed and covered in plaster as a sculptor, prompting a demand for more art that compels him to commit murders. Ooh la la! That is a heck of a synopsis. That is a wonderful movie, and I just feel like a lot of movies have probably taken from A Bucket of Blood. It's probably inspired generations of films. And why don't you guys talk about A Bucket of Blood a little bit? Ruthless Chris, what do you have to say about A Bucket of Blood?
A Bucket of Blood's kind of like a timeless flick. Like, yeah, it came out in 1959, but it's just as relevant now as it is or it was before. And oddly enough, looking into it, it was remade in the 90s, starred Michael C. Hall, and the guy who directed it was Michael McDonald, not the singer, but the guy from
Dexter. Michael C. Hall is Dexter, isn't he?
No.
Oh, never mind.
No, he was the guy from all the like Breakfast Club and
okay.
Yeah, he was in all those movies. He was in Halloween Kills. He was the Evil Dies Tonight.
Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Michael C. Hall. So who the fuck am I thinking? Michael C. Hall is Dexter. So who the fuck am I thinking of then? Hold on.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't that Dexter?
It's
anyway.
It's Anthony Michael Hall. I'm sorry, Anthony Michael Hall.
Okay.
Jeez. But I really enjoyed this. It's a lot funnier than it gets credit for. Like, you have to kind of understand the art scene and the beatnik scene to kind of really see the satire that they're hitting home with. I really enjoyed Dick Miller a lot. Almost anything he's in, and I'm pretty sure that
always
after watching this again today, that he's just been a perpetual old man. No matter how young he was old looking.
Like Larry David.
Yeah, it's like this is 1959. He looked old as fuck still, and he was probably what, 30?
Yeah, because he looks the same as he did in The Burbs, which is in like the 80s. You know?
Yeah.
I fucking love this movie, I'll say. Growing up, my mom had a bunch of VHS, and this was in the regular rotation for me as a child. So like this one hits a soft spot for me as well. Like you said earlier about Roger Corman doing a lot of movies that you didn't even realize who he was. You know, this was one of them. It's like, oh shit, he did that. You know, and I started, and also I would say this and Little Shop of Horrors might be his most popular one next to this one. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie, especially being an artist. I think I was introduced to like what a beatnik was through this movie. You know?
Yeah, they paint a pretty clear picture pretty fast. Like just even with the opening scene, there's that pretentious character Maxwell, and his big fake beard. His so obviously fake fucking beard. And he's like, like, what did you say in that poem again? He's like, I never say things twice. I never redo my poems. Like how pretentious they are. I just fucking love it because it transfers even in the world I exist in wrestling. Like being a promoter, I see those types of fans and even workers all the fucking time. And the satire of these people that just take themselves way too seriously. And then people that will do obviously really dumb shit to fit in with those people, which is what, Dick Miller did. And I really liked the first statue he did with the cat and the knife. I would actually like that for my house.
I would buy that. Yeah. I mean, minus the cat on the inside. But
I don't want it to be a real cat, but
Kelly, I want mine with the real cat.
I want mine with the cat.
I want mine Sam's cat.
Real.
I want the split head guy, the murdered man.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that no merch companies have come out with reproductions of these. Maybe not life size, but at least to scale. That would be something that somebody should look into. And because there should be more Roger Corman merch out in the world. I can't think of any companies like Freight Rags or Cavity Colors or any of those companies have really delved into Roger Corman films. And I mean, they're getting pretty deep into other genres. They're doing Lucio Fulci. They're doing, more obscure things. But why aren't we getting more Roger Corman appreciation? And I think it's a great thing that Ruthless Chris brought this up and was like, let's do an episode honoring Roger Corman, because he did start a lot of people's careers. And similar to Jack Nicholson in the original Little Shop of Horrors, I think that might have been his first film, and if it wasn't, it's the first film that really put him on the map.
Yep.
This is A Bucket of Blood is probably the first film Dick Miller did, or at least the first one that made him as a main character, made him a star. And what's really great, I met Dick Miller.
Oh, that's awesome.
Probably a decade or so ago at a horror convention, and I took a picture with him, and I kind of like, oh, that was nice. Shook his hand, didn't think too much of it. And then a mutual friend of ours was like, hey, while I'm here, do you want me to get his autograph for you? His wife says he doesn't have much time left. He had dementia, sitting in really bad. Alzheimer's was getting there, and he didn't have much time left. So I was thankful and I was grateful for a friend to reach out to me, my friend Coy, and made sure that I got Dick Miller's autograph before he passed away. And I was grateful to have met him because he was a sweet old man. He's just a great person, one of those incredible character actors that you've seen in a million things, and he's one of those people that probably doesn't get enough respect. I remember him also from Gremlins and The Burbs, and all those great genre
everything
films.
In the 80s.
Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
Demon Knight, yes, for sure.
The Terminator's in the Terminator. It's pretty wild, all the things Dick Miller's been in, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But this cast is also got so many great people in it. Ed Nelson as Albert Troy, and Bert Convoy as Lou Baby. And then another thing that I think is incredible about this, Dick Miller's character of Walter Paisley, the janitor, also resurfaces in Chopping Mall as the janitor in the mall. Right in the beginning scene, when there's a bunch of characters. I mean, it's a cameo, but I think he has a line in it too. So just to have that whole sort of universe being created by these underground cult directors.
Speaking of recurring actresses, I noticed in 3 of the movies that I watched, including this one, Barbara Morris. She was in Man with the X-Ray Eyes. She played a nurse in one scene. She was one of the main characters in Wasp, not the main entrepreneur. And she's also in Bucket of Blood. I kind of looked further into that. Her and Roger Corman were in the same acting school. They were classmates. So when he started his career, she ended up being in quite a few of his movies and actually a lot of B horror movies in general. I just thought that was a interesting note.
Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting. And I love when people are coming up, and they can bring along people that they care about and make sure everybody gets a piece of the pie, make sure that everybody gets a seat at the table, as they say. So I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Very uncharacteristic of them. There's like a small interview they did with Jack Nicholson right after he passed, and Jack Nicholson, I would never even start crying. He's just like, if it wasn't for Roger Corman, I would have none of this. He's like, people need to understand how prolific Roger Corman was and how many careers he made and how many just fresh starts he gave and how many opportunities he gave to people that maybe should never have had those opportunities and then went on to be big stars. It's a real fucking sad situation where when he died, it wasn't like it didn't just send a shockwave across, not just horror community, but film in general,
Right. A couple days before you told me that he passed, because I didn't even know he passed until you told me. I had just watched the it was one of the newest Joe Bob Briggs that came out, and it was their Corman interview. Like that was one of their more recent episodes. So, like, I had no idea Corman even passed until you were like, "What?" Because I've seen next to nothing online, and that's when we were like, "Yeah, we absolutely have to do an episode."
Yeah, I didn't even. How I found out was I was listening to a podcast, and they're like, "Man, rest in peace, Roger Corman." I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
and
I
then,
told my mom.
I googled it.
My mom got all like, "What? What?" She's like, I caught the end of it on the news. They were like, a B movie legend died. She's like, I didn't think it was Corman, and you could hear her getting all teary on the phone. I was like, oh fuck, But yeah, you would think there would have been a little bit more coverage on that, Anyway.
But yeah, no, I totally agree that there should be more coverage and more exposure of Roger Corman's incredible body of work.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved A Bucket of Blood, and like we were discussing before, cuts out all the fat, gets to the point. Brilliant satire of the beatnik scene. It's a great comedy crime horror film, and it's an absolute classic. Highly recommended. 1959's A Bucket of Blood. It's streaming everywhere. AMC Plus. Like Killer Kelly was saying earlier, it was on Joe Bob Briggs' show, so you know it's on Shudder. Crackle, Fandor, Freevee, MGM Plus, Pluto TV, Bloodity Blood, Tubi, everywhere and everywhere you can watch A Bucket of Blood. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it as soon as possible. I give it 4 stars. I love this movie. It's a classic. It's a masterpiece, and you need to watch it. What do you guys give A Bucket of Blood?
I think on my letterbox I gave it 4.5. I'm pretty sure because it's so nostalgic for me personally.
I gave it 4. I probably should have gave it more, but it's great biting satire. It's got horror. It's fun. It's funny. It's fast. It gets right to the point. Got to dilly dally like a lot of movies do. I think it's a modern classic. I'm probably going to check out this Anthony Michael Hall version when I get off because I watched the trailer and it looks like it's like pretty much the same fucking movie. Like it had the cat with the knife in it, everything. It's called A Bucket of Blood or The Death Artist.
And it's not a modern classic at all. It's actually the opposite.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
Fair enough. Well, in the meantime, everybody go watch A Bucket of Blood. Everybody pay homage to Roger Corman. And if anybody, any merch industry people listen to our podcast, you should do some Roger Corman merch, Do some Roger Corman merch. Do some Roger Corman merch. Hey, you rockin' fodden. Do some Roger Corman merch. Hey, you Studio House, do some Roger Corman merch. Hey, you Fright Rag, do some Roger Corman merch. Is that enough? I think that's enough.
I think
anyways, Well, before we sign off, too, we'd like to address the fact that we're not on a regular basis anymore. We have crazy lives, and from now on, the episodes will be dropping on Friday nights. Ruthless Chris, if you would like to talk about the scheduling and the regular nights that we will be on from now on, or irregular nights.
Yeah, so you may have noticed that we missed a few episodes, and leading up to it, Germ's been gone for a little bit, because what our normal recording night was, he was doing some training for his job, and it's very important to him, and something he really much enjoys, so he wasn't able to make those dates. But I myself have picked up a second job where I'm making pizzas on a food cart several days a week, and I really enjoy it. I'm making good money, so we've had to really kind of hunker down and try to figure out how to keep this thing working, to where we have time to do it to the level that we need to, and that because this is something we really very much enjoy. So the episodes will be coming out on a different day now. We are recording on a different day now. Germ will be back, I think permanently, right, Germ?
Yeah.
As long as we're recording on days when I can, I will be here. I know that we've got a couple of weeks coming up where we're going to be off a bit, but we're going to make it work. We're going to be back on schedule, probably more like bi-monthly or bi-weekly, though.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen with next episode because Kelly and I will be in Virginia for our show with the POR stunt team, stunting on them. We're going to have a wrestling / stunt show with the grind metal monkey band Banana Slamma. So it will be what our normal record day is. We'll be traveling back from Virginia to Toledo. So that's going to be a long hike. So I doubt we'll be able to record. So there might be another gap, guys. I'm sorry to say, but we'll hopefully be back soon. Unfortunately, we're very busy people, so we try to make it work as best as we can. But I have 2 jobs and a full-time wrestling company, and Kelly does 2 jobs, and Germ's a very busy man as well. So we're doing our best to make it work for you. It's going to be coming out in different days. I think what day is it coming out on now? Peapod?
Fridays.
Episodes will now be found on Fridays on your favorite podcast platform of choice.
So yeah, just take a look at us on Fridays. Hopefully we don't. We may miss next week, but hopefully we won't miss any more after that for a while. Keep an eye out for what we're doing over there at Ruthless. We got Chicago coming up in July, July 20th, Scum of the Earth. All of us will be there, all 4. And then August 23rd and 24th, we will be having the King of the Kill tournament weekend, which will include a horror movie marathon sponsored and hosted by Severn Films. Including giveaways and all kinds of stuff. So come get your horror on in between some great wrestling.
And in the meantime, this is dropping right before my 46th birthday, so happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, Jerp.
Before we go, any last words to the people out there in Real Violent? Ruthless Chris.
Don't spend too much time with Fox News dads. It's really draining.
Killer Kelly, any final words for the people out there in Real Violent?
Watch a shitty movie. It's good for you.
And on that note, I'd like to say keep it creepy, keep it spooky, keep it Roger Corman forever. God bless America, and send nudes.